Day one of the NATO Summit underway in Lithuania right now. President Biden meeting with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and King Charles yesterday.
Joining us now for more is Director of the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom, former advisor to Margaret Thatcher Nile Gardiner, and retired Air Force Brigadier General and former NATO advisor Blaine Holt. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. Now, I just want to get a sense, we were talking about President Biden yesterday meeting with the King. How do folks in England feel about President Biden? What is their view of him?
Thanks very much for having me on the show from London. I think firstly, I think the tide has turned against Joe Biden in the United Kingdom. A lot of Britons view Joe Biden as intensely anti-British, disrespectful, arrogant. And I've spoken to dozens of Conservative Party MPs over the course of the last few weeks and months or so about Joe Biden. And the view is entirely negative. In fact, I did not find one member of parliament who actually thought he was a good leader of the free world. And Biden has knifed Britain in the back on multiple occasions recently, including sinking a US-UK trade deal, knifing the British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace in the back. He was a candidate, of course, for NATO Secretary General. Biden's now supporting the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, as the next NATO Secretary General. On multiple fronts, Biden is seen really as somebody who does not respect America's allies, including the United Kingdom, of course, America's closest friend and partner. So I have to say, when Biden flew into London earlier this week, I don't think the British public gave him a particularly warm welcome. And he is viewed, I think, as a highly ineffective leader and somebody who is not a friend of the British people.
Yeah, I think many in America view him as a highly ineffective leader as well. Just a quick follow-up, Niall. Does the British media pick up on things like the president walking around the Windsor Castle yesterday with King Charles and sort of having to be, directed where to go and what to do? It was just really sort of a sad scene to watch this play out.
Yeah, that's a good point. In fact, British media have been all over this story. And the reality is that Joe Biden was wandering around Windsor yesterday. He looked almost out of his mind, actually, at times, very dazed and confused. King Charles III now, was clearly very irritated with the fact that Biden was not following royal protocol. King Charles actually had to really guide Biden very carefully, because Biden was sort of wandering around talking to the Welsh guards that he was inspecting.
Yeah.
And so I don't think the king was very happy with Biden's overall approach, and Biden was confused. But also Biden is a very arrogant and narcissistic individual, so he does whatever he wants, I think, when he travels.
Okay, appreciate that, Niall. General, good to have you on this morning. Important to just let everybody know, you were the second, when you were an advisor to NATO, you were the second most important military person in the room. You've planned many of these. Typically, these NATO summits are almost completely scripted. We know what's going to happen. Joe Biden's scheduled to speak in just about 10 minutes. That was not scheduled to happen as late as yesterday afternoon. What do you expect to hear from the president this morning?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting thing, because we thought that the entire summit would be wide open, and it seems like through the night they've been working to get it all locked down. So now you're seeing Sweden definitely has a track to come in. They're going to get to security assurances for Ukraine. And then what President Biden's expected to do in Lithuania is going to come in, and he is going to lay out where United States leadership should be and where the direction of the war is going. But what we need to see is, what is NATO's strategy to off-ramp this war diplomatically? Or are they going to make a case that they've got the logistics to expel the Russians as was originally envisioned?
Yeah, a great point. Niall, Rishi Sunak, so he does agree with President Biden that Ukraine should not join NATO during the war. Sunak also, making it clear he wants a clear path and thinks Ukraine's rightful place is in the alliance. Do you see this being a point of struggle during the summit?
Yeah, I do. This is exactly where the tension or points are going to be, because first off, we've got a lot of folks back here, on both sides of the aisle, that think we should fast track Ukraine right on into NATO. What they're failing to realize is that they will enable Ukraine to make an Article 5 declaration and force a vote on that. That is analogous to World War III. Wait, we don't even get to the vote because the Russians are openly saying they'll preempt that. They'll get in the middle of that. And Russia's watching this summit probably more carefully than anybody. So these are, the prudent move is let's show our resolve. Ukraine, let's find a diplomatic offer.
And also, this has all backfired on Vladimir Putin. Throughout the last 16 plus months of the war in Ukraine, we've now got Finland, who's a part of NATO, and Sweden is going to be a part of NATO. Both Finland and Sweden have active militaries, so those are good additions to NATO. Niall, same question to you. Do the people of Britain really want a country like Ukraine, which before this invasion was known as one of the most, if not the most corrupt country in Eastern Europe, as a part of the NATO alliance while this war is still going on? Is that something the people of Britain support?
Well, it's a good question. I think there's very strong support for Ukraine in the United Kingdom, but I think on the issue of NATO membership, I think opinion is divided. I think that there's support for Ukraine becoming a member of NATO eventually, but I think that in terms of Ukraine becoming a NATO member now, I think there's limited support for that, and I think you'll find that across Europe that there is, I think, strong sympathy for Ukraine eventually becoming a NATO member, but right now, while a war is going on, that appears to be
it doesn't seem to make much sense.
Unrealistic.
Right. Okay, Nile Gardiner, we appreciate you being with us. General Holt, thank you. Lithuania. The funny part is my producers told me that just before the segment, because I say Lithuania here, but it's Lithuania. I don't.
Let's go to Vilnius. It's a great town, Rob.
By the way, thank you, General. You've been there. You get to say that. Thank you, Niall. We'll do it again soon. Appreciate it.